Tell me what you chose.
Pepsi.
Pressure was growing at Coke to get its market share back. I want you to tell me which of these two colas you prefer.
Okay.
Guy, come here. You prefer the Coca-Cola?
Yeah, I do.
You preferred Pepsi-Cola. The Pepsi challenge was a winner. It appeared to prove that people preferred the taste of Pepsi. But even more importantly, it also convinced executives at Coca-Cola that the taste of Coke was its biggest problem. They began to think the unthinkable. The taste of Coke had to be improved.
It was not something that you did lightly. You did a lot of market research. Almost 200,000 taste tests were conducted.
And those tests showed people preferred the new sweeter flavour. To Coke bosses, this market research was conclusive.
Armed with this data, they actually made the decision to go ahead, change the formula, introduce a new product into the marketplace, and withdraw the original formula.
Dazzled by what the market research was telling them, Coca-Cola decided to ditch the flavour that had made it the #1 drink all over the world and to replace it with a brand new cola the company had just invented.
I remember thinking at the time that this was either unbelievably brave or unbelievably stupid.
Thank you very much, Roberto. Well, we simply believe that this is the biggest news about Coca-Cola and the best news about Coca-Cola that we've ever announced or ever will announce. Consumers preferred the new taste over the original by a margin of 61 to 39.
He expected us to love the idea, and he did not get the sort of cheer he anticipated. It just died. And then the questions came.
I mean, are you 100% certain that this won't bomb, this new formula?
As I said, I think this is the surest move ever because the consumer made it. We didn't.
They lost control of the meeting. And despite, all the things they had planned, they didn't expect questions to be quite as harsh as they were.
To what extent are you introducing this product to meet the Pepsi challenge?
Oh, gosh, no. I mean, that's Pepsi challenge. When did that happen?
It was very awkward, and I think the tension sort of showed. The responses began to get a little angrier.
Are you saying that the Pepsi-Cola has no more to do with this than Heinz baked beans or Hershey's Kisses?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. You can handle the English better than I can, so I'm not going to get into that argument with you.
Thank you very much, and I'd like to invite you to the lobby to try the new taste of Coca-Cola.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We taste the new Coke. Well, actually, it's on television, so you can see me do it.
It's sort of flat, and it is sweet, sort of like you left it in an open can in the refrigerator a while.
Like the new drink, the press conference had gone rather flat. But Coca-Cola decided to press on.
A great new taste, now it's opening night. A colossal event, it is reaching.
And all across America, it created a huge fanfare to welcome new Coke.
It took a few days for the consumer reaction to start to move negatively. Typically, in our Consumer Information Center, we'd get about 300 to 400 calls a day. Suddenly, we were getting 1,500 calls a day. And these were not positive calls. These were negative calls. These were calls that basically said, I want my Coke back. We started to see protests in the street.
The taste of Coke.
Hey, have you tried the new Coke?
For Pepsi, things could scarcely be better.
It was a very big era, and it was very exciting because it was a day-by-day battle with Coke to take advantage of the situation.
In the universal search for great taste, it doesn't take a higher intelligence to figure out why one cola's changed and one cola's chosen.
It's astonishing. It's absolutely astonishing that suddenly you give way to a weaker competitor, because that's what happened.
On the streets, the demonstrations were getting angrier.
It really got a little out of hand.
My oldest daughter is 22. Her first word was Coke. Her second word was Mommy.
Employees like myself would be confronted by neighbors saying, "What have you done?"
All Cola drinkers of America, thank you for participating.
Militant Coke drinkers who wanted their old flavour back kept stepping up their campaign.
All Cola drinkers of America.
This was a new thing, to see this sort of grassroots organizing around an issue that people felt strongly about.
I put our names in.
Keen to find out exactly what was going wrong, Coke executives went back to their market research. They realised they'd made some extremely significant errors.
There is always a difference between blind taste testing and branded product testing. What you've got to remember with market research, and particularly if you're doing blind taste testing, is that you're doing it without all the brand associations attached. So for people to say, I prefer that product versus that product, there's only one element of what happens in brand thinking.
We didn't ask all the questions we needed to ask. All we asked people was whether they preferred taste X to taste Y. We never asked them, how would you feel if we replaced X with Y?
The funny thing about this case is that big old dominant companies like Coke are usually accused of being too stuck in their ways. They're like dinosaurs, unable to keep up with the world. What Coke found out was it's not as simple as that. Successful companies have reasons to be cautious of change.
I have an expression I use to all my clients is check the bathwater for babies. Before you throw out what you do, just check.
The prime lesson is that you don't mess with the brand that easily and that, in a sense, that quickly. And secondly, don't be over-influenced by the noises of your competitor.
Coke now knew it had messed up horribly, and the error was in danger of handing Pepsi an all-out victory in the cola wars.
Wars consist of a series of battles. What Pepsi felt at the time was we won this battle. But certainly Coke was not going to lie down and die and not come back with something else.
And so the something that they decided to do was to bring back original formula Coca-Cola, this time branded as Coca-Cola Classic.
79 days after the introduction of New Coke, Coca-Cola executives came out again in front of the world's press, this time to say they were going to make a U-turn and revert to the old recipe.
Our boss is the consumer, and we want them to know that we're really sorry. Some critics will say Coca-Cola has made a marketing mistake, and some cynics say that we planned the whole thing. The truth is, we're not that dumb, and we're not that smart.
It was a huge decision to change back, because this was an admission that the original decision was flawed.
Corporations seldom say, I'm sorry, or we made a mistake. And it humanized them in a way that benefited that company to this day.
It is such a strong brand that even if they make a mistake, people see them like a brother or a sister. They'll forgive their brother and sister, and they'll let them have another chance.
If we ever heard of another one like this today, we'd go, wow, how can people do that? Not in the U.S. I think we've learned that lesson very well.